After my recent Gibson Les Paul Jr. review, it became apparent that a lot of players would enjoy owning a single P90 guitar, but might not use it enough to justify dropping $1,600 on a Gibson. Now, of course, there are a number of good-sounding, lower-cost alternatives, including the Epiphone version I reviewed a couple years ago. I was mulling this over when viewers suggested I take a look at another fine-quality, low-cost alternative. So that's what I've done. And today I'm looking at the Sire Larry Carlton L3 P90. I reviewed a number of these Sire Larry Carlton guitars, and in virtually every case I thought they punched well above their weight. Now they've all featured clean builds, quality hardware, and good-sounding pickups. Like the Les Paul Jr. it emulates, this L3 is about as simple as it gets. A slab mahogany body, mahogany neck, and the single P90 with a simple wrap tail bridge and tailpiece. In this case, the lightning bar variety for better intonation. And I have to say, it intonates quite well with the 10 through 46 set I've installed. Now, these die-cast tuners feel smooth and solid. Blindfolded, I don't think I could tell they weren't actual Grovers. The nut material is listed as genuine bone. Now, this example has a beautiful dark rosewood fretboard, something I always appreciate, with Sire's trademark rolled fingerboard edges. Now, the neck profile is a C-shape. It does feel nice and full in the hand. There's a pretty significant volute. I'm not sure if that's because Larry Carlton played Gibsons from the volute era and just likes them, or whether it's an attempt to minimize headstock breaks. The jury remains out on whether that actually works, by the way. The consensus seems to be the headstock angle has way more to do with it, and most modern guitars don't use Gibson's rather extreme angle. But in any case, I don't mind the volute in the slightest. Also, there's Sire's contoured heel and cutaway scoop for more comfortable upper fret access. More very welcome features. Now the scale length is 24 3/4 inches with a 12-inch radius and a 43 millimeter or 1.695 inch nut width. It's also quite light at just 7 pounds 4 ounces. Now this model comes in several colors, and this satin black finish is well applied and looks quite nice. Of course, all black finishes are prone to showing fingerprints and smudges, but the lack of gloss does minimize it about as much as possible. Now, I do tend to prefer guitars with pickguards, but for some reason, I feel like the pickguard shape could have been just a little bit better. Of course, that's just me. Others may love it. The cutaway shape also looked a little odd to me at first, but I quickly got used to it, and having it around a few days, the overall look has managed to grow on me. And I appreciate it being its own thing, rather than just a Gibson copy with a different headstock. You can't blame companies for just copying since the market rewards it, so props to Sire for giving the guitar a bit of its own identity. Of course, the most important thing is the playability and sound, so let's check it out. Well, it certainly sounds legit. The pickup has a DC resistance of 7.8K, which is in the vintage zone, and it has that mix of brightness and thickness I always look for in a P90. The guitar features full-size pots, which feel smooth and work very well, so that rolling off the volume and tone controls produces the sort of tonal variety you want in a single pickup guitar. The only downside I've discovered is the frets could do with just a bit of leveling. Now, the truth is, the majority of factory guitars don't ship with perfectly level frets, even a lot of expensive ones. There are companies that get it right more often than not, but that's a subject for another video. Let's see how this one sounds in a mix. Well, of course, it's not a Gibson Les Paul Jr., but at only $399, it gets you reasonably close, especially if a Junior is not your main guitar, and spending for a Gibson just doesn't make sense. Now, there are plenty of other options, including the Epiphone, as I mentioned, which is visually closer to the Gibson. But the Epiphone does cost $80 more than the Sire, and you get a laurel fingerboard instead of this beautiful rosewood, and of course, no rolled fingerboard edges, or this kind of upper fret access. In any event, if this Sire appeals to you at all, I'd say it's definitely worth taking a look and seeing how it feels in your own hands. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. If you watched all the way to the end, well done. It helps. And of course, giving the video a like and hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell will help me continue to produce content. So take good care of yourselves, and I will see you again very soon.